and joining us on the Wester Hotline to talk a little bit about the team he covers, but also what it's like to be covered by Hard Knocks. Chris Emma, reporter for 670 The Score, covering the Bears and Chicago's teams. Chris, good morning. It's Jeremy and Sal. Thanks for taking some time today.
What's up? How we doing?
We're all right. What can we expect for Hard Knocks? Is it more work for the media to get out of the way of new cameras? I mean, what can Bills fans expect to get when Hard Knocks descends upon a team?
You know, it's funny. The Bears resisted Hard Knocks for years and years and did everything they could to avoid that fate, and they seemed kind of terrified of having it. And it was actually not bad for anybody. You're going to notice the cameras when they're out there. You're going to notice a crew, but they're not really overtaking the media room per se, any part of the facility. They've got their own headquarters. They've got their own little camp, and they're very friendly. They're very accommodating. They're always making sure they're not in your way because they want to be very respectful of space. But it is a great presentation. I was pleasantly surprised at how smoothly it went and how much I enjoyed it. And to be quite frank with you, too, the Bears took away from a lot of the Hard Knocks, and I'm sure you know, but the teams have a final editing cut on this. The Bears scrubbed a lot of it, and one of their rules, which kind of got people laughing, was that the McCaskey ownership group does not like swearing. They don't want any swearing involved in their own presentation. They just cut out every single curse word out of Hard Knocks for, the 5 or 6 different episodes. So the Bears' editing view of it was pretty clear throughout, but I still enjoyed the product overall.
When it comes to this kind of news, I think the knee-jerk reaction is to say, oh, it's a distraction. Do you feel like that HBO is looking to create controversy stories, just cover what's going on? Are they looking for human interest stories when they did this with Chicago?
No, I don't think so. They did look for the human interest stuff. I remember a part of DJ Moore's off day where he's going to an ice cream Hall of Fame or something like that in downtown Chicago, and they build up a lot of these storylines. You can have fun looking at the 90-man roster going into training camp and figuring out who's going to be kind of the darlings of Hard Knocks and who's going to get those human interest storylines. There's a couple. Adrian Colbert was one of them with the Bears. Ian Wheeler was a undrafted free agent running back. They're going to find that their storylines, but they don't really look to create controversy. And frankly, the fact that this is run through the NFL and through these teams makes it almost kind of a in-house PR type operation where there is complete control, and they're going to try to avoid controversy at all costs. So I think Bills fans will come away really happy with how it looks.
Chris Emma joining us on the Bears and Hard Knocks. Would this be a better year to cover the Bears for Hard Knocks, given all the changes that they're going through?
Josh, last year seemed like it was a year where there was so much excitement. I remember how many different times throughout the last season thinking, man, remember Hard Knocks? Felt like ages ago with the way that season went, losing 10 straight games, coaches fired in early November, all the changes that they had throughout. Hard Knocks felt like a distant memory, and there were so many good little moments of that series where you're thinking, this is going to be a fun team. My lasting memory was this closing bit. It was the last scene of the last episode. They played this song. I think I should remember the actual title. I think it's Back to Chicago. You know the song. Forgive me for not having it, but it was a cool little scene. I'm like, man, this is fun. They're really setting the scene for an exciting year, and it was just such a complete train wreck. So, this would probably be the more fun year, but we thought the same a year ago, too.
Chris Emma joining us here. He covers the Bears in Chicago. All right, so what about you? Did you make any cameos last year? How did that go for you? Did you avoid it? Did you want to be on it? How did that all go for you?
I did. I made, I think, 2 or 3 cameos, and all my friends were locked in on it, apparently, because I get the text before I would even watch the episode, and I'd be kind of waiting for it. So, Sal, I think you're going to be a star of Hard Knocks, my friend. I've known your work enough. I've known you well enough. I think they're going to come to you. I think you're going to be that guy in this series.
I don't know about that. It'll be interesting. We just talked about the Bills are the subject of the Hallmark movie this year. Last year it was the Chiefs. This year it's the Bills. And yesterday I went to a scene where I was actually in and have a speaking role with that. But the Bills, this is just part of being highlighted around the league. I'm interested from standpoint of someone in another market, how this is being received. It's the Bills on Hard Knocks. Do the Bills resonate for a team that people around the league, other media members, kind of want to get a peek into the Buffalo Bills, MVP Josh Allen, and what's been happening here over the last several years?
I think the Bills resonate with all of America. I really do. I find myself every playoff run rooting for the Bills and having that being my sentimental favorite team, and really hope they can finally break through. And I think that's certainly a popular opinion. And I think the Bills will resonate with anybody. Everybody wants to see them finally break through and have their moment. And The story's been told over and over again, and it's been frustrating, especially the last few years. But man, there's so much to love about this team. There's so much to root for. So I'd watch that. I'd absolutely digest that.
Chris Emma joining us on the Western Hotline. All right, so the Bears and Ben Johnson. As someone that watches the league, I'd be very excited about Ben Johnson as the coach. He comes in as a first-year head coach, Chris, and from afar, you tell me if you have the same read. I think he comes in with some swagger. I mean, this is a guy that believes in himself. He's not afraid to get a little snarky about the tush-push, saying that I don't see it as an explosive play. And he's also maybe the only person I've ever heard say that passing EPA is more important than turnovers. Like this is a smart, hot candidate. How's it going over in Chicago?
It's been really impressive. It's been such a refreshing change for the Bears to have somebody like Ben Johnson in charge. And look, usually a lot of the guys who are tough coaches are not the brightest bulbs, and a lot of the guys who are the really smart coaches are soft on their players. Ben Johnson is tough on these guys, and he is really dang smart, and that's come across all throughout. And the Bears are getting a dose of it now. Yesterday was their second practice of OTAs. There was a moment at the end of practice where Cole Kmet was getting chewed out for not getting lined up properly. This is a guy who's been a captain, one of the most respected, beloved players in that locker room, and I kind of looked at him like, man, who's yelling at Cole Kmet? It was Ben Johnson. Like, he was letting him have it. There was a stare down at the end of it, and it was because he didn't get lined up right for something at the end of a team drill. I'm like, all right, okay, this is how we're going to do it here. Like, man, these guys are getting a sense of what Ben Johnson's like. And he was kind of asked about it later about his demeanor on the field. He's like, I'm trying to work on that. Like, he's a guy who is going to get on people. You're going to hear him at training camp. And not to mention guys like Eric Bieniemy and Antoine Randall and Al Harris, some of these guys who are really going to be getting after players. They need this. Like, this Bears team desperately needs it because Matt Eberflus and his staff just didn't do it for this group. He completely lost that locker room. Players are tuning out their coaches throughout the year, and that's how you lose 10 games in a row. That's not an accident by any means. Ben Johnson's going to bring a really important change for this group, and he's going to be a terrific guy in terms of that scheme. He's going to bring an offense that fits for Caleb Williams. You better believe he's going to be in that film room with him, helping him through it as well. So, there's a lot to like about what Ben Johnson's bringing to the table.
What's been the fallout of the Seth Wickersham piece on Caleb Williams and the reaction to it in Chicago?
I mean, look, I got asked last week, do you think it's a story or a non-story? It's neither to me. It's context and confirmation. And we kind of knew throughout that Caleb Williams was not being coached well. I had argued from the start of year 3 when they retained Matt Eberflus that it was a tough decision because you're bringing a young quarterback with a lame duck defensive-minded head coach, and an OC was probably going to be one and done in some form if everything goes well or poorly. It did not make sense. They let this kid down terribly. I don't think anybody was really surprised by this. I don't think anybody could shake their head at him for doubting the Bears. I would have done the same thing. I think anybody in that situation would understand where Caleb Williams was coming from in that position. The follow-up questions are more about moving forward and looking back a little bit, too, in terms of, did you want this out there in a book? Did you want your dad commenting? And did you want all this dirty laundry out there? And then what did you feel you took away from last year that you can move forward with? Like, how badly did this team really let him down? And I wanted to ask those questions. Caleb Williams was not available to the media yesterday, which is a little disappointing, frankly, but I guess we're going to hear from him in a couple weeks. And the story's going to linger. The story's going to be out there a bit because that's just the nature of the beast right now, and it's May. There's no football to be played.
Chris, it sounds to me we have a little bit of an experience with this. I mean, the Sabres have been bad for a long time. You get to a point, is it basically with the Bears that people read that and say, like, well, he's right. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. It's been such a rough go that why wouldn't a player feel like that?
Exactly. You're exactly right. And look, the catchy line in that was, this is where quarterbacks go to die, and it's completely true.
Yeah, right.
I'd even argue that the flaw in that line is that they brought in bad quarterbacks who are probably going to be dead already. Like, it's not that Chicago's killed them as much as just these guys don't really stand much of a chance coming in. Now, it's how do you perceive that if you're Caleb Williams? And the thought initially was, I don't want to be here. I want to look elsewhere. I want to go to the Vikings. He came in there, and to the credit of Ryan Poles now, and granted, he's responsible for a lot of these issues that were outstanding for Caleb. Ryan Poles made Caleb Williams feel completely comfortable about coming into that building and being that guy in Chicago. And that's where Caleb Williams in that line came back and said, I can do this here. Like, and Caleb's had the right head on his shoulders the whole time where he's talked about, I want to rewrite history. Like, he's not fazed by the past. He's embracing it, and he's known that he can be that guy. The parallel in Chicago, obviously, is the Cubs, and manager after manager came into Chicago and wouldn't talk about the drought and the poor history of this franchise. And Joe Maddon came in and said, let's embrace this. Let's really take this head on. And they were able to undo that and win a World Series. So Caleb Williams seems to have what it takes to overcome this all and to be that guy for the Bears.
Ryan Poles, GM of the Bears, from Canandaigua. We have listeners, people I know that say, oh, yeah, I went to school with Ryan. I know Ryan a little bit. How hot is his seat if they don't take that next step after now swinging on a head coach and getting another opportunity there?
Man, that's a really good question because I don't have a great answer for you right now. He executed the coaching search. He brought in the top guy in the market, and he gets the tip of the cap for that. He's also on an expiring contract, and there's been talk about do they give him a contract extension. They've not announced anything publicly. We've not heard anything privately. For all we know right now, he still is entering the last year of his contract. I believe they're going to get a contract extension done. He still has the patience and the trust of management where I think they still see him as a multi-year guy who's going to see this thing through. I think the Bears are still very bullish on Ryan Poles. Geez, there we go. The former general manager, despite the fact that it's not gone well for Ryan Poles to this point. But look, I think they still feel that he's going to get the job done for them, and I think they're eager to see it through with him.
Before we let you go, I know that you follow Blackhawks and hockey, and the other day I had a conversation with somebody. We've been going through the should the Sabres pursue Mitch Marner conversation here. And I will tell you, Chris, someone said to me the other day, I could see him going to a team like Chicago and wanting to play with a great center. What do you think about that idea?
I mean, the Blackhawks have to go be one of those top spinners, top teams on the market, and Mitch Marner's that guy. Yes, it makes so much sense. And you can poke holes in it and say, man, he really struggled in the playoffs. It wasn't good enough, and this and that. The Blackhawks need that, and they're desperate to get that kind of talent in Chicago because Connor Bedard looks like he's going to be a star still. And you've got a really good young core in place, but you need those guys to really take off. Dating back to the Blackhawks dynasty-like run over a decade ago now, Marian Hossa was the guy who took Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews over the top. And Marian Hossa is a Hall of Famer. I don't think Mitch Marner's anything like that yet. But, man, you put those pieces together and you feel really good about your chances of being that kind of contender, that kind of championship-level team. So whether it's Marner or somebody else, they have to have a really strong offseason, starting with this head coaching hire, by the way. They still haven't made that hire yet. But this has to be a pivotal offseason for the Blackhawks in which they take that step toward being a contender and getting closer to being a championship-caliber team. Chris
Emma on the Bears. Chris, thanks so much for the time, and we'll be watching. I mean, you say you're rooting for the Bills as a sentimental team. I've been ready for the Bears to be interesting.
And you'll be on Hard Knocks again because a part of training camp will be going to Chicago for a preseason game good. Last year coming here when the Bears were on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a possibility of the Bills coming in for joint practices, too. We'll see if that is put on the schedule, but I've been hearing the Bills and the Dolphins in the Bears' case, two different joint practices. But, yeah, I think Hard Knocks might be back at Hallis Hall, so it'll be exciting to watch.
Very good. Thanks, Chris.
Take care.
Chris Emma of 670 The Score in Chicago on the Bears. Ben Johnson. He's exciting to me. If I were a Bears fan, I'd be really, really high on him. I wonder if Caleb Williams can do it. He's got a lot to live up to, but the Bears should be interesting. The division is stacked.